As the Texas Democrat James Tallarico continues to poll neck and neck against Republican Ken Paxton in that state's Senate contest, Republicans are preparing to flood the race with cash from the pro-Trump billionaire Elon Musk. Wired is reporting that according to Trump officials, Musk is expected to spend around $100 million to $200 million in the midterms with a focus on voter turnout in key races, including Texas. Musk's planned cash injection could be a boon for the scandal-ridden Paxton, who's been vastly outraised by Tallarico. According to the latest FEC filings, Tallarico has raised $69 million compared to Paxton's $9 million. A spokesperson for Musk's America PAC declined to comment when Wired asked about the group's spending plans. The Texas State Representative James Tallarico is the Democratic nominee for Senate in Texas. He joins me now. Good to see you again, sir. Thank you for being on the show tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with this whole idea that the richest man in the world is funneling money against you in your race. He has specific interests in Texas, business interests, and reasons why he doesn't care to have you as Texas's representative in the Senate. But how do you feel about that, and how do you plan to campaign around a massive injection of money that's about to show up in your state?
Well, billionaire mega donors like Elon Musk are terrified of the movement that we're building in Texas, because we are bringing working people together across all the divides in our politics, across party, across race, across gender and religion and culture, because the real fight in this country is not left versus right, it's top versus bottom. All of us are getting screwed, whether we're a little more conservative or a little more progressive. None of us can afford groceries, none of us can afford gas or utilities or health insurance, because billionaires like Elon Musk have rigged this economy against us, have rigged this political system against us. And he sees the momentum that we're building on the ground. We have 59,000 people signed up to volunteer. We have shattered grassroots fundraising records, all without taking a dime from corporate PACs. And I think Elon Musk has taken note. He sees that we are building something truly special. And so the way we're going to overcome this is regular people chipping in $5, $10, $15 at a time. And anyone watching can go to jamestallarico.com and sign up to volunteer or sign up to donate so that we can overcome this big money. Big money is powerful, but it's nothing compared to people power.
I heard you saying the other day that when Beto O'Rourke came real close against Ted Cruz, Ted Cruz was a rough candidate. Ted Cruz doesn't hold a candle to Ken Paxton. I mean, I got to say, in all of my reporting, and this is not a bias here. I love Texas and I love all sorts of Texans. That guy's something else.
Ken Paxton makes Ted Cruz look like a statesman. This is truly the most corrupt politician in Texas, one of the most corrupt in the country. And I think in this election, we have the opportunity to bring people together, not as Democrats or Republicans, but as Texans, to defeat the most corrupt politician in our state. And if we can do that, in Texas, then we have a model for how to bring Americans together to defeat this entire corrupt system.
So I've been having conversations with people like you, Democrats who have a good chance of winning in states that have traditionally been Republican, or in recent years at least have voted for Donald Trump. And I've had the conversation with Roy Cooper, and last night I had it with David Jolly. And there is some indication that when things are going badly for Republicans, particularly as they are now because of the cost of living and this war that we were told we weren't going to get involved in wars like this, Democrats have a few go-tos, and they're enjoying one of them with you. They talk a lot about transgender stuff, and they lean into that. I don't know what effect that has, because I think for regular people, as I just spoke to Sherrod Brown about, they're worried about the cost of their lives, the cost of their diesel, the cost of their fertilizer for their farmers, the cost of their gas. Most people are not losing sleep over transgender kids in sports, but they seem to just be stuck on this one with you.
Well, this is Ken Paxton's playbook: distraction and division. That's the way he's held on to power. It's the way every crooked politician holds on to power. They get us looking left and right at our neighbors instead of looking up at them, looking up at their billionaire mega donors, their corporate special interests, because that's who owns Ken Paxton. He doesn't work for us. He doesn't serve the people. He serves himself and he serves his donors. And that is the rot at the core of this broken system. It's why Texans can't get ahead, no matter how hard they work, no matter how much they save and stretch and sacrifice. They can't make those ends meet. They can't fulfill their God-given potential because the system is rigged against them by crooked politicians like Ken Paxton. So that's what this whole race is about. This really isn't about party. It's not about the red team or the blue team. It's about all of us coming together to take on the people at the top who have been screwing us over for far too long now.
When you won your race in March, we were all together around this table, and I remember Rachel saying, "Gosh, I wish Texas could send two people to the Senate contest because you had two such highly qualified, high-profile people, you and Jasmine Crockett." Since then, you had what I call your John McCain moment, right? Somebody said something derogatory about Jasmine Crockett at a public meeting, and you very kindly said, "That's not going to happen on my watch." You were very complimentary toward Jasmine Crockett, and you implied that she's been helping certainly in down ballot races, which is critical in Texas. What do you need from Jasmine Crockett? Because in a tight race like this, you're going to need more than just help on down ballot races.
Well, I was so grateful that Congresswoman Crockett turned around the very next day after that primary and endorsed me and the entire Democratic ticket. That's not easy to do. You know, primaries are tough. They're fights within the family, within the coalition. But the Congresswoman always puts the work ahead of herself. And the fact that she endorsed me the morning after the primary says a lot about her character and about her commitment to this cause of winning Texas. And as you said, she is shining her star power onto these down ballot races that don't get the attention they deserve. They don't get to go on MS Now and do interviews on national television. But those down ballot candidates that are running all over the state, you know, I think about Dr. Letitia Plummer, who's running for county judge in Harris County. Those are going to be the candidates who are getting out the vote for the candidates at the top of the ticket, me and Representative Hinojosa, who's running for governor. So this is a true team effort, and the Congresswoman is such a critical part of that team, and I'm honored to have her support in this race.
A recent poll showed Gina Hinojosa within striking distance of Ken Paxton, who's doesn't seem to be paying much attention to his own race. He seems to talk about you a lot more. It's a poll with a large margin of error, but it's a poll nonetheless. I mean, the fact that we're talking about close races in Texas is quite something. You had an event earlier today, with the Austin Humane Society, in which people brought their dogs and puppies. What was that about?
Well, Ken Paxton is anti-puppy, and I wish I was joking when I said that, but reports just came out revealing that as Attorney General, Ken Paxton protected a research lab that was notorious for torturing and killing hundreds of puppies. And then as a state lawmaker in the Texas legislature, Ken Paxton was one of the only votes against a bill to hold animal abusers accountable. So Ken Paxton never misses an opportunity to do the wrong thing, and he won't fight for the little guy, even when the little guy is literally a puppy. And so this is a clear contrast in this race. You know, I have 4 terms in the Texas House where I brought Democrats and Republicans together to pass 60 bipartisan bills. One of those bills I authored after a fire at a pet resort in my district killed 75 dogs. And that bill requires kennels and pet resorts to have either 24/7 staffing or automatic sprinkler systems. And that bill is going to save the lives of pets across Texas in the years to come. That's the kind of action we need. I'm going to be a senator for all Texans, including our four-legged Texans.
James Talarico, it's good to see you again. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate it. This is going to be an interesting race. We're going to be watching the whole country on November 3rd, but all eyes are going to be on Texas. It's come close for Democrats a few times, but it's been a long time since Texas has elected statewide representatives. You may have the opportunity to elect 3 of them on November 3rd. So we'll be watching that very closely. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.